Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Windows Phone Corporate Vice President, Terry Myerson.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our Windows Phone Summit. I'm Terry Myerson. I lead the Windows Phone division at Microsoft. I want to thank you for being here today. This year, Microsoft has reimagined Windows. With the introduction of Windows 8, we have new silicon, new user experiences, a new development platform, and new devices. Well, today, for the first time, we are here to preview the next chapter in our Windows story, Windows Phone 8. And before we do that, let's talk about how we got to where we are today. It was 3.5 years ago when a small group of us decided we needed to reimagine the Windows mobile experience. We looked at everything that was available to our customers at that time, and we knew there was a better way. From that work, we distilled 3 principles that have guided us every day since. The first was that Windows Phone was going to be a more personal experience. We wanted Windows Phone to be an expression of the user. If you pick up a Windows Phone of any of our customers and look at that start screen, you are going to learn so much about the people in their lives and their interests. Our second guiding principle was that the experience on our phones were going to be most relevant to the user. This phone knows so much about you through its sensors and the content on the device. We challenged ourselves to bring information and experiences that were most relevant to the user right to them. And third, we wanted to deliver the most connected experience that we could, betting on the cloud to bring the user's content to them, as well as storing it back there for peace of mind. From this, we have the birth of Metro and our first Windows Phone devices a little over 18 months ago. Now, when we want to understand how Windows Phone customers have responded to our work, one place we go is Amazon's phone marketplace. Amazon lets us sort all of their phones by users' reviews and ratings. When we went there yesterday to build this slide, the top 3 phones from all of Amazon's customers were Windows phones. 5 of the top 6 were Windows phones. 7 of the top 9 were Windows phones. 7 of the top 9. Frankly, it's humbling to work on a product which customers have reviewed so highly. The customer reviews talk about the beautiful Metro experience. They talk about the buttery smooth performance. My favorite quote from a customer, Windows Phone is a breath of fresh air. So what does the future hold for Windows Phone? Well, we're going to start sharing that with you today. Today is our Windows Phone 8 platform preview, where we will share those aspects of the platform which our developer partners need to know now. And to get started with that, I'd like to introduce someone who was there with me 3.5 years ago when we built this vision, Joe Belfiore.
Thank you. Good morning. Hello, everyone. It's good to be here with you and to pick up where Terry left off and sort of leap into where we're going with Windows Phone this fall. As Terry mentioned, I was one of the people who were there when we reset our efforts with Windows Phone 7. And at the time, I was lucky enough to get to come to Mobile World Congress and sort of describe what we were changing and show the Metro user experience for the first time, talk about how we changed the developer platform and the way we were altering our approach to working with hardware vendors. But at the time we were doing this transition, there were a lot of things that we were trying to improve and change. There was one that we weren't able to get done, although we started the work really early. And that was the fact that our core technology, the heart of the operating system, was based on Windows CE. And although that was great for the low-cost, low-power phones that had preceded Windows Phone 7, as phones get more powerful, we have been feeling more and more that we could benefit from an upgrade at our core. So let me just jump in today and tell you the big announcement that we have today is that the future of Windows Phone is about a shared Windows core, and that Windows Phone 8 this holiday will ship with a shared core inside that's common code between Windows Phone 8 and Windows 8. Yeah, we're pretty excited about that too. So let me explain a little bit about what that means, because I'm getting into some sort of technical implementation here, and what's interesting is to get a sense for not only what that means technically, but what its effects are. When we say shared Windows core, we're referring to a set of components that include the kernel, networking, the file system, multimedia, graphics support, all those kinds of things. And what we're going to do today is take you through the implications of that shared core, because really it changes what the platform is about. And that's a platform for software developers and for hardware makers, and it affects how all these people are exposed to Windows Phone. And that core technology, which is shared between Windows 8 and Windows Phone 8, has as sort of its heritage the Windows kernel that's been around and is in use today by over 1.3 billion people. So this is a well-tested piece of software. It has high familiarity for many people in the value chain, and now that familiarity and performance and reliability is all going to come to Windows Phone. So let's talk in a little bit more specifics about what this means for various audiences of Windows Phone. For consumers, this new shared core is going to mean a much greater choice in hardware. This new shared core technology scales down and it scales up in a big way, so we're going to see a much wider range of phones with a wider range of capabilities at a wider range of price points. It also means some new experiences that you'll get that cross over between your phone and your PC. It also means a huge amount for both end users and developers in terms of the kinds of apps that we expect to see on Windows Phone 8. With a shared common core, developers who are working on Windows 8 have an incredibly easy transition to Windows Phone. And developers who've done work for Windows Phone already can move their apps quickly and easily to Windows 8. And in that situation, everyone benefits. It's better for consumers, it's better for developers, and it's better for our hardware partners as well, because the ecosystem grows and gets more healthy. The hardware partners in particular benefit from the shared core in some really interesting ways. At the heart of that shared core, the kernel exposes a driver model for many of the devices and components in a phone or a slate or a laptop or a PC. When that code is in common, many of the companies that build those parts and have to author software drivers for those parts can author those drivers one time, build them to high quality, and expose that hardware goodness across a very wide range of devices, from the beefiest desktop PC to a thin, easy-to-use, great battery life slate, down to a low-cost Windows Phone. Again, everyone benefits. The quality improves, the performance improves, the time to market improves. It's efficient for the ecosystem and good for consumers, developers, and hardware partners. Now, what I'm going to do for about the next 45 minutes or so is take you through a little bit of a tour of 8 new platform announcements that form really the foundation of Windows Phone 8 and deliver features and benefits to all of those audiences on the basis of this new shared core. What we are not doing today is disclosing all of the end user features. We have some pretty cool things to talk about that you're not going to get to hear about today. What we're going to do instead is focus on the platform and how that improves things for consumers, developers, and hardware vendors. So keep that in mind as I take you through the tour of 8. We'll start out. Number 1, Windows Phone 8 will support the latest and greatest hardware this fall. The shared core with its kernel, in particular, has been optimized for, over the course of many years, multi-core chips. In fact, the shared kernel that we'll be shipping in Windows Phone 8 has already been run on 64 core machines on Windows desktop PCs and servers. This is a great architecture that's been optimized over years, and the experience that people have had on Windows Phone single-core devices in the past is going to get much, much better as it runs on dual-core devices and beyond in the future. The work that we've been doing so far in building Windows Phone 8 has been focused on dual core for this fall, and we're doing all the kinds of optimization and performance enhancements on multi-core first for Windows 8 devices so that consumers get the real benefit of battery life and great performance on their new Windows Phone 8 devices. The next thing we're doing in terms of hardware enhancements is scaling up our support for screen resolutions. When we launched Windows Phone 7, we picked one screen resolution. And we did that in large part to give the ecosystem focus on a single target. So it would be easier for ISVs to implement apps that would be known to work great on every Windows phone. We feel that now is the right time to expand that screen resolution, so we're moving up and adding 2 new resolutions, both in high definition. We'll be adding a standard 720p screen resolution and the even higher res WXGA. You could sort of think of that as 720p plus with its 768 lines of resolution when you're in landscape mode. We made a very intentional choice here and have made sure that we have the graphics hardware support so that all of the existing Windows Phone 7.5 apps will run great with no modification on these new resolutions. If you're a developer, your app is going to run and look terrific, and I'm going to show you some examples of this later. The resolution change is invisible to you. Now, of course, if you want to go exploit the new resolution, you're welcome to do that, and we make that possible, but it's not necessary. As an end user, all the things that you would expect to work still work, but your experience just gets better. Third, we're introducing removable micro SD support as a core part of the platform. And this core micro SD support spans both the PC and the phone. The scenarios are valuable both to consumers, but also to developers and to hardware vendors. What this enables that's different than what Windows Phone 7.5 has today is that an end user can add a micro SD card months after they buy the phone, expanding their storage, and then they can use it to transfer content from their PC to their phone, from phone to phone. It can be used as a distribution vehicle for apps.